Hi, welcome everybody. In our easy to understand Shakespeare series, today we'll take a deeper dive into Macbeth. In today's video, we will be understanding Act 2, Scene 2 from the play. The scene is important as it is just after the killing of King Duncan. Even though on one hand we see Macbeth to be distraught and stressed from his actions, on the other hand we see Lady Macbeth to be bold and courageous. She also comes across as somebody who is able to keep her calm and composure in stressful situations and is able to work through them. Before before we begin this, before I begin explaining this scene to you, we should understand that the scene is taking place in Macbeth's castle. Lady Macbeth enters the scene, and it is the night time. Lady Macbeth says that which had made them drunk. So Lady Macbeth has had a lot of alcohol, and she says that the alcohol which has made the servants drunk has also made her courageous and bold. She then goes on to say that the wine which has extinguished the senses has given me fire. Here fire refers to the courage to carry out the deed. She calls out peace, and then she says that it was the owl that cried out. Lady Macbeth compares the owl to the fatal bellman that rings the bell at the St. Stephanus Church before a prisoner is executed. Lady Macbeth then uses the word "he is about it." Here, she's telling the viewers of the play that Macbeth is going about doing the act of killing King Duncan. She says that the doors are open and the surfeit grooms, the meaning of surfeit grooms is the well-fed servants, are now mocking their owner by with their snores. Lady Macbeth ends the first dialogue by telling us that she has drugged their possets. There he refers to the servants. Possets is a nightcap or the drink given, and that at that point of time, death and nature are contending about them whether they live or die. As Lady Macbeth finishes her first dialogue, there is a voice by Macbeth from within. And Lady Macbeth, on hearing this voice, becomes very alarmed. She says, "Alas, I am afraid that they have woken up." They could refer to the servants here. "And the deed, and it is not done," which refers to the deed not being done. Lady Macbeth then tells uses the line, "The attempt and not the deed confounds us, hark." She's basically telling the audience that the attempt to kill King Duncan, if it is not successful, could actually cause immense trouble for them and tarnish the reputation. So she says that the attempt to kill Duncan is more stressful than the actual deed of killing him. Lady Macbeth then goes and tells everybody that she had laid the daggers ready and Macbeth could not have missed them. Then she says the line, and I quote, "Had he not resembled my father as he slept, I had done it, my husband." Now this is the only statement in the play where we see Lady Macbeth showing some form of humane nature and gentleness and kindness. She says that had King Duncan, when he slept, not resembled her father, she herself would have gone about killing him, but here she had sent her husband. Macbeth has now entered the scene, and the moment he enters the scene, the first thing he says that he has done the deed. "Did you not hear the noise?" Here he's referring to the noise of killing King Duncan. Lady Macbeth in reply tells him that he heard the owl scream and the cricket cry. And then she asks him, "Did you not speak?" Confusion arises between Lady Macbeth and Macbeth. They both are sort of confused as to from where the voice came. Macbeth goes on and asks that who lies in the second chamber. Lady Macbeth says Donalbain. Donalbain was one of the kids or children of King Duncan. Macbeth then looks at his hands and says, "This is a sorry sight." Why? Because here Macbeth is sort of gradually breaking down in the scene. Lady Macbeth says it is a foolish thought to say a sorry sight. This is a particularly important dialogue because this also shows us the mental strength that she possesses at this point of time. She tells Macbeth very clearly that what he's calling a sorry sight is basically nothing but a foolish thought. Then Macbeth very clearly says that there's one did laugh in the sleep and one cried murder. They did wake each other. I stood and heard them. But did they say the prayers and address them again to sleep? Now Macbeth very simply tells his wife that he had heard someone laugh in the sleep and someone call out murder, and they did end up waking each other. Macbeth then says that he himself stood and heard their prayers and addressed them again to sleep. Lady Macbeth tells him that these two are lodged together. Macbeth says that one cried God bless and the other cried Amen. And as these servants and as these servants had seen me with the hangman's hand. Hangman is simply refers to the person who is responsible for execution or killing. So he is saying that he saw the servants with the blood on his hands, with the hangman hands, and listening out of fear. Macbeth said that he could not reply amen to them when they said God bless us. So just for you to make it very clear to all of you, when these servants were asleep in the sleep, okay, when they were asleep in the sleep, they did call out God bless us and amen. And when they did call out God bless us, he could not reply amen because Macbeth was really scared and frightened at that point of time. Lady Macbeth says, "Consider it not so deeply." So she's basically telling him to not give this a lot of thought. Now, Macbeth then goes ahead and asks her a question, that why could he not pronounce or say amen when he needed the blessing the most, and amen, and he said that these words are particularly stuck in the throat. Lady Macbeth says that these deeds should not be thought. Okay, and because if one does overthink them, they're likely to drive a person mad. Okay, Macbeth then goes on to say, and I'll read from the text. Methought I heard a voice cry, "Sleep no more." Macbeth does murder sleep, the innocent sleep, sleep that knit up the raveled sleep of care, the death of each day's life, sore labour's bath, balm of the hurt mind, great curse of the second course, chief nourisher of the life's feast. Now, Macbeth said that he thought he heard a voice cry, "Sleep no more," as Macbeth had murdered sleep, the innocent sleep. And here, sleep has been compared to a few things. He says that sleep helps to untangle a stressed mind. Sleep helps to bring rest after a day's work. A sleep also helps a weary laborer labor refresh itself just like a bath does. A sleep is like an ointment to a weary mind, and sleep is basically a gift of the nature that helps to nourish. So here we see that this dialogue is particularly important because it gives us the uh, the it gives us Macbeth's view and how does he perceive sleep. So just to quickly recap for everybody here, he says that the innocent sleep helps to untangle a stressed mind. He says that the sleep which tends to bring peace at the end of the day, a sleep that refreshes a labor, just like a bath. He says that the sleep is like an ointment to a hurt mind, and he says that sleep is like a gift of the nature which helps to nourish. Lady Macbeth asks him that what do you mean? Macbeth said that it cried sleep no more to all the house. Glamis had murdered sleep and therefore Cawdor shall sleep no more. Macbeth shall sleep no more. Now Macbeth at this point of time is hallucinating of what has happened. He says that the voice said that Glamis had murdered sleep, therefore Cawdor shall sleep no more, Macbeth shall sleep no more. Now Lady Macbeth is a little confused and she seems to be losing patience with what Macbeth has been up to. She simply asks him, who was it thus cried? Why were thee ta'en? So she's asking him, who was it who cried out? And then she's basically trying to she's trying to scold, or she's trying to be a little stern with Macbeth, and she says that why does worthy Thane diminish his virtuous nature by thinking of foolish things? So she first asks him that. Then she commands him to go get some water and wash off all the evidence of all the blood that he has on his hand. Third, she asks him that why did he bring the daggers from the place? So here she's asking him that why did Macbeth carry the weapon that was used to murder King Duncan with him? She told him that these weapons should simply lie next to the servants, and she tells him to go and place it near the servants, at the same time cover the hands of the servants with the blood. Macbeth at this point in time is extremely frightened and says that he'll go no more. And he says that he's afraid to think what he has done. Look on it again. He says that look at it again, I will not go. Lady Macbeth has really lost her patience at this point of time. And she says a couple of things which are very important, which show us how strong she is mentally during such trying times. She first rebukes Macbeth and telling him that he is very weak on his purpose or the goal. She then asks him to give him the daggers and she tells him very simply that somebody who's asleep and somebody who's dead are just as harmless as pictures, as they cannot do anything. And she says that only for children do they appear like a painted devil. Only for children do they appear evilish. Okay, and then she ends the dialogue by saying that if he did bleed, I'll discover or smear the faces of the servants with the blood, for it must seem the guilt. So she's telling him that if he do bleed, okay, and she's saying that if it is needed, she will not shy away from covering or smearing the faces of the servants with blood, because it must appear that they have killed King Duncan. At this point of time in the play, there is some knocking heard from within, and Macbeth, on hearing this knocking sound, gets even more frightened. And then he's asking Lady Macbeth, from where is this knocking sound coming? And then he's asking her that how does every noise seem to appall? Appall means to frighten or threaten him. And then he's saying that then he's sort of hallucinating and imagining hands. So he's asking her what hands are here, and they pluck out my eyes. So then he's saying that what hands does he see here? and they seem to be attacking his eyes, or they seem to be taking out his eyes. With all great Neptune's ocean washed its blood clean from her hand. Then he's asking the audience and Lady Macbeth at this point of time that uh, he's asking the audience that will all the ocean water which is controlled by Neptune, who is considered to be the goddess of the oceans, will be able to clean out his hands and the guilt that he carries with him. Uh, then he says that this particular hand is capable of turning the green sea water red, because he's so overcome with guilt that he feels that the sea will turn red if he starts to wash his hands, because he's so overcome with guilt at this point of time in the play. Lady Macbeth re-enters the scene. My hands are of your color, but I shame to wear a heart so white. I I heard a knocking. At the south entry retire we to our chamber. A little water clears us of this deed. How easy it is. Your constancy has left me unattended. Hark! More knocking. Get down. Get on a nightgown, lest occasion calls us, and show us to be watchers. Be not lost so poorly in his thoughts. Now Lady Macbeth comes back in the scene, and she very clearly says, my hands are of the same color as yours, but I am ashamed to have a but I'm ashamed to wear a heart so white simply means I'm ashamed to be weak and cowardly. Then she says that she heard a knocking at the southern entry. She asks him to retire to the chamber, and a little water clears us of this deed. She's saying that there is only a little margin which will, in time, which will help them to get away with this deed. And then she says that your constancy has left me unattended, which simply means that your usual demeanor of being the bold, courageous one is all gone. Then she again hears more knocking, and then she asks him to get his nightgown, lest uh, unless we are called upon to be unless we are called upon to be and shows unless we are called upon, and we should appear to be people, and we should appear as if we are first in getting to know about King Duncan's King Duncan's death. She's asking him to not be lost in his thoughts. Then at the end, Macbeth very simply says, to know my deed, it were best not to know myself. Wake King Duncan with thy knocking, I wish thou couldn't. Now she's simply saying that I wish. Then he says that if I must know what I have done, then it is best that I do not know myself. Then he's simply asking to wake King Duncan with the knocking, and then he says that I wish I could wake him up. All right. I hope this explanation is helpful, and you did get a detailed understanding of the text. If you have any comments, questions, or clarifications, do feel free to drop it in the comments. You should check out the description box for additional study material that could be helpful for your prep. A copy of this PDF with all my annotations and markings is also given in the description box. Thank you, and hope to see you in the next video.